elevating the blockchain network, specifically the Bitcoin network, requires vast amounts of cheap, reliable power.
Bitcoin miners really are the energy purchasers of last resort for renewables, and so we're the perfect customer for renewable energy sources.
Bitcoin mining consumes a lot of energy, and it's been talked about in the news.
Yes, it's true. Bitcoin miners are consuming a lot of energy. We're globally at around 9 to 10 gigawatts of global electricity consumption.
In 2017, when they shut down their exchanges, Bitcoin went through a downturn, and then we were on our way to one of the biggest bull markets that Bitcoin had ever seen. So I think it's two steps forward, one step back, often with China, and I don't think any of us know what's really going on there. Half of the solution is understanding the problem. And I think that this auditing that miners, certainly in North America, are willing to do around how much of their electricity usage is generated by renewables is going to bring that topic into stark relief and will encourage, we believe, an acceleration in the adoption of renewables beyond which otherwise would have taken the place. When you're dealing with intermittent energy sources like solar or wind, it would be very nice and remunerative for the ecosystems out there to include Bitcoin mining. So when you filled up the storage, it can spill over into mining, and probably will enable then an overbuilding of a solar, because there is now more of a profit motive associated with it. I was surprised to see this already in motion. A company called Talon Energy last Friday, merchant power producer, announced that it's raising 800, or would like to raise 800 million in the equity market, 300 million of which would go to just this ecosystem, including Bitcoin mining into its ecosystem, so that it could encourage the proliferation of solar and wind faster than otherwise would be the case. So again, half of the solution is understanding the problem. And to be honest, we had been watching how much of the electricity was already being produced by renewables. A lot more, as we learned, in China. Somewhere between 40 and 60%, I think, is the percentage. Partly because miners would shift to different areas, hydropower and other maybe wind power, when it seemed productive to do so. So we thought the argument was somewhat overblown, especially when you think about it. Any progress is going to use more energy, right? Are we saying Bitcoin is progress, but it can't use more energy, and it happens to be already more renewable, especially in some of the biggest countries for mining, than I think most people appreciated. So the utility value here of Bitcoin and other cryptos is such that it is progress. We think it's, the first global monetary system in the world, rules-based. There's huge utility to that. Now, maybe we in the developed world do not appreciate this as much as those in the developing world, where there are more corrupt regimes and where they lose their purchasing power regularly, and they can lose their wealth regularly as well from confiscation. Huge utility value here, and so real progress in terms of helping those who are living in those very difficult areas. So how much do we pay for this? Well, if you listen to the UN and look at the Sustainable Development Goals, helping individuals maintain their wealth and their purchasing power is a huge advance, you know, it could be for 3-4 billion people on the planet who would not have this opportunity. So we're talking about energy usage in isolation. What is the utility? What is the progress here we're talking about? It could be enormous. I think the market will come around to understanding that.
I think this gets at a fundamental point that I've heard others, I think Joe Weisenthal from Bloomberg make, that the energy conversation has too often come down to the simple binary of whether you think Bitcoin's energy usage, whether you think Bitcoin is valuable, and everything else is totally incidental to that. And so to some extent, what you're saying is we need to also, even as we're exploring the sort of new green energy approaches, get back to or have the conversation about why it is valuable as a thing to spend energy on.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Now, as I said before, I mean, we did write the paper with Square, in collaboration with Square, about how to introduce mining into a renewables ecosystem. I think that's a very productive discussion, and actually, as I said before, will proliferate renewables much faster than otherwise would be the case. I think what happened was that Elon probably got a few calls from institutions. I noticed that BlackRock is their number 3 shareholder, and Larry Fink, is the CEO, is focused on ESG and especially on climate change. So I'm sure BlackRock registered some complaints, and perhaps there are some European very large holders, and Europe's extremely sensitive to this, more so than the US in many ways. And so he probably wanted to reassess the situation, saying, wait a minute, what have I gotten into here? Do I not understand the environmental impact? And so now I think that he has encouraged a lot more conversation, a lot more analytical thinking, and I do believe he's going to become a part of the process.